it's Kristin and it's a bonus Thursday video. I have a foundation review for you guys today, and I have done this along with Kristin from It's Kristin, whose channel and video I will link below for you. For those of you that have never seen a foundation review of mine, as much as possible Kristin and I try to do them together because she is a little bit younger, more oily skin, and I have a little bit drier, more mature skin. So it gives our subscribers that maybe don't have the same skin type as we do another option to go and see what somebody else with their skin type thinks about the foundation. So make sure to go ahead and check out Kristin's video. So this again is the Covergirl Outlast Stay Luminous, and I have the shade in 820, which is creamy natural. And I grabbed mine at Walgreens. I know they have been kind of coming out pretty much everywhere. I think you can find it pretty much everywhere at this point. One of the things that impressed me about this is that they had testers. I was shocked and amazed. So anyway, I just thought I would mention that at least at my Walgreens, they had testers, and I've seen kind of on Instagram here and there, other places seem to have the testers as well. I will do some comparisons and kind of chit-chat a little bit about how it compares to the Outlast Stay Fabulous towards the end of the video. And I really stopped myself from watching too many other reviews on this, as I don't want it to taint my opinion. So if you've heard some of the things I have to say from other people, hopefully that just proves the point. Like I said, I don't like to watch reviews of things that I know I'm going to be reviewing before I review it, because I feel like it, like I said, taints my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about finish, but first, before we do that, let's go ahead and I'll cut to the demo of me applying it, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to just 2 pumps on my hand. And I have a primer on currently. I have the Laura Mercier Mineral Foundation Primer. It's the one I'm working through right now. I'm just gonna, sometimes I forget that I want to do just half my face to show you guys the coverage. I have a towel in my lap. I'm just using, this is the Flat Top Kabuki from Beauty Junkies. I'm gonna do a full video on these Beauty Junkie videos, or Beauty Junkie brushes, by the way. I've been using them for about a month now. Okay, so you can see it works into the skin fairly easily. And so that is covered, not covered. You just turn this off for a second so you can see with a little bit of a shadow. And let's go on the other. And blend that in. It's about 5:30 in the morning right now, in case anybody's curious. And as you can hear, the birds are serenading us. Alright, so that is sort of one coat of coverage, and I still have that much left on my hand. I'm going to put just a little bit more kind of on the areas where I prefer a little more coverage. And I just kind of stipple it so I don't disturb the foundation that I put down before. And because I want a little more coverage there, it kind of helps with that as well. What's left on my hand, and there you go. And I definitely have determined coverage wise, I'll probably talk about this again, I prefer this sort of brush to a beauty blender with this one. Alright, let me turn this off again so you guys can see a little better. There you go. Okay, so you can see I actually was going to talk about finish, but let's just talk about coverage first, since we just saw the demo. The coverage on this, I feel, is a medium coverage. You can build it up a little bit, but one of the things that I noticed is when I used it with a beauty blender, I've tried this a bunch of different ways. When I used it with a beauty blender, I was able to build it up a little bit, but I mean, the beauty blender itself is generally meant to shear things. I don't know if it's meant to, but it does shear out foundations. And I just felt like I couldn't, with beauty blender, I couldn't build it up to the kind of the coverage that I like. And what's interesting is that I preferred the Beauty Blender with the Outlast one, with the blue cap one. I preferred the Beauty Blender with that foundation. So that's kind of something that I found interesting, is that I really preferred to use a buffing brush, and that helped me get a little bit better coverage with this. So I don't think that this coverage is the same as the other one, but it's also not saying that it is. So at any rate, definitely my preference is to use the flat top kabuki brush, and if you wanted a really nice kind of sheer, just evening out, you could use a Beauty Blender with it and it would give you that. So having said that, I'm going to give that a 0.75 for coverage. I just feel like it doesn't quite build up to where I would like it to build up to. It's also not claiming that it doesn't, which is why it's not losing more points. So we're going with the 0.75. For those of you that are unfamiliar with my point system, I have 5 categories. Each category can get anywhere from 0 to 1 point, and then I have a total at the end. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about finish. I'm really curious to hear Kristin's review on this, because I thought for sure that this would be something that's totally going to work for dry skin and maybe wouldn't work at all for oily skin. But because it's called a Natural Glow Foundation. But there's something about this foundation that it does give a nice, even finish. So there's that. And I know that's all I have on my face. I didn't put any powder over it. I do have, of course, bronzer and blush on, but I don't have any powder over it. And it does kind of have this luminous glow, but it's not like some foundations that say that they're luminous. It's just like an oil slick. Even on dry skin, it just doesn't work so well. This one doesn't do that. It just gives you kind of a healthy look to it. So I really like that. I'm very impressed with the finish of it. And it looks good almost immediately. You know, sometimes it takes like an hour for a foundation to settle in and look really good. I feel like this foundation looks good almost immediately. And that as long as the foundation lasts, which we'll talk about in a minute, it kind of stays with that particular sort of luminous glow. So while we're talking about that, let's talk about longevity. This is where it fails miserably for me. It does not last very long. Nowhere near how long the Outlast does. And again, the Stay Fabulous, excuse me, does. And again, I'll kind of do a few comparisons quickly at the end for you. This one, and I've talked before, you know, I have generally a 12-hour day from the point at which I put on my makeup to the point at which I'm heading home to wash it off at night. Or the point at which it doesn't matter to me what it looks like when I'm heading home. But this one starts to break down after about 6 hours, particularly in chin and cheek area, and definitely on the top of my nose. So it's a beautiful finish, and that finish lasts until it's almost like a light switch for me anyway. 6 hours, and it just really starts to sort of break down. Now, one thing that I didn't do that I want to do, but I really wanted to keep this one, you know, really to this foundation, is kind of combining these two to see if that would help, and I believe that it would, to the longevity of this and that sort of thing. So that's something that I'm going to play with here in the next few weeks, and I'll probably talk about it in a favorites video or something like that, or at some point I will talk about that. At any rate. So the longevity of this is a 0.25 at best. I'm really, really disappointed in the longevity. Not happy about that at all. And I'm not sure that I mentioned when I talked about finish, I gave it the full point for finish because it really is a unique finish in the fact that it is luminous without being sticky, or it really sets. I mean, to prove to myself, it really sets without a powder going on top of it, and just has that sort of luminous look to it. It works very, very well. Now, to flip back to longevity for a second, if I put a powder foundation over the top of it, I will get more like 8 hours before it starts to break down. So, and that's generally how I will wear foundation, but I just wanted to give you the information on the foundation itself without going into anything else. Okay, packaging, it gets the full point for me because it's very nice, sleek, and it has a pump. I mean, it has a pump. So the packaging gets the full point for me. Color range, it's only getting a half a point for me. There are only 7 shades to this. And I don't know if they're going to bring out more after they see how it goes, because if I remember correctly, I feel like the 3-in-1 came out with not as many shades originally and then added some shades. I could be incorrect on that. But at any rate, there's just not enough shades. I was able to find a shade that worked really well for me, and again, that is 820 Creamy Natural, but I just feel like there could be more shades. So price-wise, this one comes in between $9.50 and $11.50, kind of depending on where you purchase it from. When I took a look online again this morning, that kind of seems to be where the price is falling, which is relatively decent, I think, for a drugstore foundation. Again, as I said, there were testers available, which I was really impressed with. So yeah, overall I give this a 3.5, which is pretty good in the realm of things. And I don't know, I was trying to think would I repurchase it again or not. I don't know that I would, only because of the longevity problem for me. If it doesn't last, that's a real problem for me. But again, I am going to play with kind of combining these two. So very quickly, differences between the two of these is that the 3-in-1 offers much better longevity, in my opinion. It does not, however, have sort of the luminous finish to it as this one does. The color range on this one is a little bit better, and coverage on this is a little bit better. You don't have to use quite as much to kind of get a fuller coverage. This one I would say is medium full to full, where this one is, you can do sheer for sure. You can do sheer with the other one as well, but it comes in at about a medium, maybe a medium plus. So those are kind of my comparisons of the two of those. Curious if any of you have combined the two of these. And by the way, I have the shade 825 in this one and the 820 in this. This actually was a friend of mine. It didn't work for her, so she had sent it to me, which is why I have a little bit darker shade. But it seems to work for me all right. I do feel like 820 is almost a perfect match. It's just a little more pink to it, where there's a little more beige in the 825. So, all right. I hope that that was helpful. Again, check out Kristin's video if you have a more oily, younger skin versus mine to see what she thinks. I'm really curious, like I said, to see what she has to say on this. So, all right. On the rest of my face, I have... for blush today, I have the Milani and Tea Rose blush. And on my eyes as a base, I have the Smashbox Cream Shadow in Gemstone, which looks like that. And then I pulled out my Lorac Pro palette today. It's been a while since I pulled this one out. And I just have pewter all over the lid. I have mauve in the crease, and then I have pink as my brow bone highlight. And I took pewter beneath my lower lash line as well. And on my lips today, I just used MAC's lip liner in magenta all over my lips and filled in my whole lip. And then I use a combination of MAC Rebel and then my Cam Cosmetics Lip Lava in Game On as kind of the topper there. So I think that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you're having a great day. And oh, I will link the Covergirl, I'll link this video below for you if you want to check out that one as well. So, all right. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.